UFC Fight Night, Fiziev versus Gamrot. Today I'm going to be going over the main card of this weekend's event. Didn't really have the motivation to go through all the prelims. Just none of the fights were really getting me too jazzed. Kind of sick of seeing Muhammad Usman get thrown out there against whoever the UFC can find that they think he can beat. I guess I'll just go through and do a little rapid fire who I think wins each matchup with very little to no thinking involved in each of them. Let's go with Tamares Vidal over Montserrat Rendon. Mizuki over Hannah Goldie. I like the just singular name, no last name. Muhammad Usman. I think he beats Jay Collier. That fight will be pretty interesting. Jacob Malkoun. He's going to beat Cody Brundage, I guess. I think Tim Means beats Fialio. I mean, you get the point. Dan Argueta, honestly don't know much about that dude. Let's just say he beats Miles John. And with that out of the way, let's get into the main event, the fights that I actually put some thought into, starting with Ricardo Ramos versus Charles Jourdain in the featherweight division. Ramos is the slight underdog at plus 122. He's 3-2 in his last 5 fights, and he is taking on Charles Jourdain, who is 3-2 in his last 5 fights as well. Ramos, he loves spinning around, doing all sorts of crazy stuff. I know he's got kind of that capoeira background. Who's the last guy you know who had a capoeira background have much success in the UFC? I can't really think of anyone. But all the spinning stuff actually paid off. His last fight versus Danny Chavez had a crazy spinning elbow that put Chavez out on his feet. Very impressive. He's taking on Charles Jourdain, who is also coming off of a win. His win over Kron Gracie, who's a debatable if he's even an MMA fighter. Let's just say it was a jiu-jitsu fight with punching. So Jourdain did what he had to do versus Kron, got the job done. Luckily, this fight, I anticipate this one's going to take place primarily on the feet. I could see Ramos mixing in a bit of grappling, throwing in a couple level changes there, but I can't imagine they're going to spend too much time playing grappling on the ground. I think they're going to be standing, and if Jourdain can avoid any craziness from Ramos, because it's coming, he's gonna be looking to land some crazy shots. Some spinning, jump, whatever you want to call them, Bruce Lee type stuff. I'm going to go with Jourdain to win this one by decision. I just have more faith in his more traditional kickboxing approach than I do in Ramos being able to land some craziness, spinning stuff on the feet. So Jourdain by decision is the pick. Next up is a welterweight fight between Bryan Battle and AJ Fletcher. The move to 170 has been a great move for Bryan Battle. He went on the Ultimate Fighter in the middleweight division, ended up winning the competition, and has since moved down to 170. I mean, I think he used to weigh like 300 pounds or something, which is the reason why he got into MMA in the first place. So, something about being a lot bigger earlier on in your life. I mean, I think that does something to your body where, I mean, you got to be just strong from that somehow, even when you lose some of the weight, just because your body just gets accustomed to carrying around all that weight. I mean, I'm thinking about Volkanovski and how big he used to be, and how a lot of that strength and power seems to have stayed with him as he's gone down to 145, 155, you have it. But yeah, I mean, Bryan Battle's looking really good at 170. Struggled against Hinat Fakhretdinov, a guy who's a major prospect in the welterweight division. I mean, I think he only has 1 loss in his career, and he just really out-grappled Battle, and he didn't have much of an answer. That's not going to be the case in this AJ Fletcher fight. Fletcher's a guy who's a total scrapper, Louisiana guy. He's going in there and he's going to want to throw hands. He's got a few wins by submission, but those are more I think of them as more opportunistic submissions, someone giving them their necks and him pulling a guillotine on them or something like that from what I've seen. Battle's going to be the much larger, longer guy in this one. He's going to have like a 10-inch reach advantage. AJ did just beat Themba Gorimbo, who did have a 10-inch reach advantage on him. He ended up choking Gorimbo out, but I expect these guys to be standing most of the fight, similar to the fight prior to that with the Ramos versus Jourdain fight. And I think you can just kind of depend on Battle using his length, and he does quite a bit of power too. And we saw AJ Fletcher get rocked a bit in that Angelusa fight. So Battle, I think he wins this one by KO. Hands Fletcher his first KO loss of his career. But, I mean, I'll tell you what, I would not be shocked if AJ Fletcher lands something on Battle that changes everything and manages to find a finish of his own, because he's definitely a banger. And, yeah, he throws hands. So, next up is a strawweight fight between Marina Rodriguez and Michelle Waterson-Gomez. Rodriguez is the minus 320 favorite in this one. She's 3-2 in her last 5. Michelle is plus 250. She's 1-4 in her last 5 fights. Not the first time these two have met. Rodriguez beat her in 2021. So, I mean, I don't know what the UFC is really trying to accomplish by scheduling this. What do we really learn from this matchup? If Rodriguez beats her, so what? If Waterson-Gomez beats her, I mean, we're not going to run it back, so then what there? So, I don't know. Maybe they have some plans in mind that I'm just can't think of, but I think Marina Rodriguez is just a better fighter in this one. She's a bit younger, not by a lot, but a little bit. She's got the win over her already, and 1 win in 5 fights for Michelle it's tough, you know. She's not fighting against nobodies, and she's got a win over Angela Hill, who's, you know, been in there with everyone, got a lot of experience of her own. So regardless, I think Rodriguez, we've seen her get wins over legit contenders in the division. She beat Yan Chanan in 2022. I expect her to beat Michelle here by decision. Our co-main event is a featherweight fight between Bryce Mitchell and Dan Ige. Bryce Mitchell is the 2-1 favorite here at minus 205. He is 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Dan Ige is plus 170, and he's 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Wouldn't be shocked if this line moved a little bit more, so Ige is pushing up to plus 180, 190 by the time the fight starts. Dan Ige, he's on a 2-fight win streak, meaning he was on a 3-fight losing streak before that, but he's got a KO over Damon Jackson, and then beat Nate Landwehr by decision most recently. Ige's always kind of been the guy who's can hang in there with the top guys, but can never really get over the hump. He fought the Korean Zombie, fought Josh Emmett, just couldn't find a win over any of the top 15 guys he was being put in there against. But he's got a little bit of momentum going into this with back-to-back wins. Bryce Mitchell, on the other hand, coming off of a loss to Ilya where he got thoroughly dominated. Of course, Ilya, probably the best dude in the division, not named Volkanovski. And that was just a stylistic nightmare for Bryce. Ilya was better on the ground. He was a better wrestler, better grappler. And on the feet, it just wasn't even a contest. Bryce was getting the crap beat out of him. And I do, and this is going to sound insane, but I do see Dan Ige as having a bit of a similar skill set to Ilya. I'd say he's not as good, just a lot worse everywhere, but he's got that sort of shorter frame. He's like 5'7", I think they're both 5'7". but a lot of power in his hands and good wrestling and grappling. He's not as much of a submission finisher as Ilya, of course, but I mean, I think he could follow a similar blueprint to the Ilya fight where he just keeps getting up and just forces Bryce to fight him on the feet. We saw Ige fight Movsar Evloev, and Evloev I'd say is probably a better grappler than Bryce. And when he got taken down, a lot of the time he was just getting right back up. So I think Ige wins this one by decision. Bryce is a guy with a lot of talent, and I think he's got a lot of untapped potential because just his philosophy of, he's not I don't believe he's in like a gym with a bunch of other guys, which is just absurd. He's training on the farm. I think he needs to get off the farm and get into the gym, to be honest. It makes for a great story what he does, and I'm sure tipping cows and shoveling hay into pig pen. I don't even know what he's doing on the farm. I'm sure that gets you pretty strong. And he's not doing nothing, but dude, let's join a gym, Bryce. Let's follow the formula that every single other fighter who's been successful has followed, which is you join a gym, you find guys, high-level guys who are your size, who you can train and become better against all day. So until that happens, I think Bryce is going to struggle against the top guys, especially when you get someone who has some grappling prowess, to compete with his. So I take Ige by decision in here. I think he's going to land some hard shots on Bryce and win it on the cards. And then our main event is a lightweight fight between Rafael Fiziev and Mateusz Gamrot. Fiziev is the minus 155 favorite right now, 4-1 in his last 5. Gamrot is looking at about plus 130. He is also 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Both of these guys, it feels like they're trying to rebound. This fight's got some decent implications for lightweight rankings. I mean, they're both kind of on the outside looking in of the elite. Meaning like your Gaethjes, your Oliveira's, Sarukian, so on. So they both definitely need a win here. And I say they're both trying to rebound because, of course, Fiziev is coming off of a loss to Justin Gaethje, where I think Gaethje just showed his experience over Fiziev. Fiziev only has less than, he's only got 14 pro MMA fights. Gaethje has, I don't know how many, 25 plus. And yeah, he landed some really good shots on Gaethje. And we know that Fiziev is a monster kickboxer, but the latter half of that second round and then the third round, Fiziev was getting his ass beat. He was just getting a whooping from Gaethje. So he's looking to rebound off that. Gamrot did have that fight versus Dariush where he got completely dominated. Dariush shut down all of his wrestling advances. Dariush put on a clinic. I mean, I saw that. I watched that fight and was thinking to give him a shot at the belt right then and there because I just thought the wrestling defense would have just made for a perfect matchup versus Islam. Of course, Charles Oliveira happened there, but Gamrot seems like he's still trying to reestablish himself as one of the elite in the 155 division. Had a good win over Jalen Turner in his most recent fight, fighting a really dangerous guy, super long, just a puzzle of a guy in the division. This is your prototypical striker versus grappler matchup. Fiziev's got that Muay Thai background. I believe he lives and trains in Thailand still. Gamrot, national wrestling champ in Poland or whatever. Definitely a credentialed wrestler who's had a phenomenal transition into MMA. 22-2 overall, whatever it is. Yeah, we've never really seen Fiziev have his wrestling tested like we're going to see here, so I think it's going to be really interesting. Fiziev does have 5-round experience, and we've seen him have success later in the rounds, like in his fight versus RDA where he got a 5th-round KO. So his power can carry throughout a fight. And typically these days, I mean, I like siding with the strikers over the grapplers, just because in these 5-round fights, I mean, I just think grappling takes so much out of you. It's so much more tiring to wrestle rather than to take a more striking approach. That being said, Gamrot is a freak in the cardio department. I think people toss around like cardio monster a lot. Just they love talking about people with the endless gas tanks, Nate Diaz, guys like that. I think Gamrot is as good as it gets when it comes to having cardio and just pushing the pace throughout 5 rounds. And I'm not sure how Fiziev is going to respond to grappling for 5 rounds straight. I think Gamrot's going to put him through the ringer here. Super close fight. I mean, the Gamrot money line, you're getting plus money on it, and that really is probably the biggest reason why I'm just leaning with Gamrot. I mean, this seems like it's a super close fight. Potential live bet opportunity. I'd say if it looks like Fiziev hurts Gamrot and he empties the tank, I think we could see Gamrot turn around and recover from being rocked. Similar like what happened in the John Turner fight, get rocked and then turn around and just out hustle the guy and win on the cards. So Gamrot by decision is going to be the pick here. With that is the breakdown. Thank you so much for watching. A bit of a shorter one today. I just couldn't really get jazzed for the prelims. So sorry about that. We got some decent cards coming up. Of course, Islam versus Oliveira 2 next month. So really we got a lot to look forward to in the UFC community. So it's going to be a great few cards coming up here over the next couple months. I'm super excited for it. But with that, that is me signing off. Peace.